This is the Louie T Network.
In the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome, you are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 4 in the National Football League. San Diego Superchargers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Blake B making his first start in the National Football League. So you knew this was going to be a lot of fun. More fun than a usual Jacksonville Jaguars football game. Ignore the static in the background. I'm going live for the first time. Haven't ironed out all the kinks. I'll get all of those things squared away at a later date and time. Right now, let's just focus on the game at hand. Chargers looking to go to 3-1 on the season. Jaguars looking to notch their first win in 2014. So we start in this game, Jag with early miscues. And this is the sign of an 0-3 football team right here. Making mistakes early on. And again, when your team lacking confidence, the one thing you don't want to do is come out and make mistakes and kind of dig yourself a hole early in a football game. Toby Gerhart with an impressive run fumbles the football. And then you have Blake B not being able to convert not only on 3rd and 1, but 4th and 1 as well. Turnover on downs, Chargers gets the football. Now, I will say this. This Jaguars defense came out inspired in this game. They were hitting, they were tackling, they were running to the football. They looked more like the team that I saw in the preseason that smothered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that was all over the field, running around and having a good time. And what did I tell you last week when we found out that Blake B was going to get the start? I said the one position on the field that can make everyone better, defense, offense, everyone on the team better, is quarterback. He can energize the entire team. He's the one position that can make everyone around him better. The offensive line all of a sudden doesn't look as bad as Jacksonville, not giving up 10 sacks in a game, because Blake can scramble out of the pocket, keep teams honest with his legs, can make guys miss and not take a sack like Chad Henne, can get rid of the football fast enough. He can do some things that Chad Henne just doesn't bring to the table, so the offensive line is better. Running backs, Denard Robinson actually looked like a credible back in this game. I was very pleased with his performance in this game. Toby Gerhart actually picked up some yards. And what do you know? Speaking of running backs, the Jacksonville Jaguars scored their first rushing touchdown in over a year. Hey, everybody celebrate. Jacksonville gets in the end zone via the ground. Toby Gerhart, 1-yard touchdown punch. And Denard Robinson's shoelaces was off the charts on that drive, busting off runs and just looking like a guy that had fresh legs and confidence. And so that's what Blake Bortles brings to the table. Jacksonville is up 7-3 in this game. What do you know? Didn't last long, however, as the Chargers respond immediately with a 41-yard Eddie Royale touchdown. Just like that, Chargers reassume the lead in this game at 10-7. Blake B with a 44-yard, and this was so beautiful. This was gorgeous. Silky smooth even. Blake B's in the pocket. Pocket starts to collapse. He spins out of the pocket and going across his body, flicks the football to a wide open. Now, Allen Hurns, he's starting to make a really beautiful habit of getting wide open. But he's also having another nasty habit attached to getting wide open, and that's having trouble catching the football cleanly when he's wide open. Now, in that first game against Philly, he had no problems. 4 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was off the charts in that game, but against the Redskins, dropped a wide open bomb in that game. Now, he made up for it last week against Indy in garbage time with that touchdown late in the game. Broke a couple of tackles, got in the end zone. He's a big play guy for you, but he could have scored on this play. No reason to fall down. No reason to bobble the football 15 times. With the way the Jacksonville Jaguars have been this year, he could have easily scored that touchdown, but instead he fell. And with the way the Jacksonville Jaguars have found it hard to get in the end zone, falling down at the 2-yard line and not being able to get up, or getting up at the 5 and getting tackled at the 2, you could have ended up having to settle for a field goal, or even worse, having to go for it on 4th down and not getting it. That would have been debilitating. But Blake B's your quarterback now. There's no more Chad Henne. And so on the very next play, Blake B with a beautiful play action fake finds Nick Jacobs, who was just newly acquired from the New Orleans Saints, finds him in the back of the end zone for a 2-yard touchdown. Helmet comes off. Who cares? Jaguars are up 14-10. Check this out. At this very moment in the game, Blake B, 13 of 15, 144 yards and a touchdown. We're talking about a perfect passer rating right now, guys. That's what you're dealing with. I told you that in that draft, Blake B would be your best quarterback. And I'm not moving off of that spot. I feel like this guy has all the intangibles to get it done in Jacksonville. But that was the high point of the game for Blake B. That was the high point of the game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everything from that point there on is going down. And that's what happens when you're an 0-3 football team searching for a win. Eddie Royal with a beautiful out and up for 43 yards. He gets into the end zone. Is it me, or is Eddie Royale looking like the Eddie Royale you thought you were getting for Denver when you got him in free agency? The kid that caught, 80 some odd balls for over 1,000 yards in his rookie season. Yeah, that Eddie Royale. That guy's back. I don't know where he went. I don't know what happened, but that guy is back, and he is dangerous. Eddie Royale with his second score in the first half as the Chargers reassume the lead 17-14 at the halftime break. Chargers start the second half, and this is why the Chargers are such a dangerous football team. This is why I believed in the Chargers before the season started, because not only can they quick strike you, we've seen Eddie Royal score 2 touchdowns over 40 yards in this game. Not only can they quick strike you, but they can put you to sleep with a long, drawn-out drive and control the clock. So they can go ball control offense like they did against Seattle, where they possessed the football for over 40 minutes in that game against the Seahawks. They can do that to you, or they can quick strike you like they did in the first half. Well, now they decided they wanted to put the car in cruise control. No need to speed now. Let's just have a nice little drive through the neighborhood and see what we find. So they move the football down the field on a nice, grueling, long 10-play drive. Wears the Jaguars out, and they cap it off with a 24-yard Malcolm Floyd touchdown. I love when Malcolm Floyd is healthy because the kid makes plays. He's big, he's long, he's athletic, sneaky fast, can get behind the defense, and when all else fails, he'll jump up, use that huge frame to go and high point the football. It's now 24-14. Chargers up by 10 in this game, and then things started to unravel for the Jacksonville Jaguars, as you would expect. Blake B making some mistakes. That's what rookies do. He throws an interception to Brandon Flowers, stares the receiver down, and he was late. The veteran Flowers, wily as he is, comes up, takes the football. Chargers get a field goal. He's also later picked off by Eric Weddle. They tack on another field goal as the San Diego Superchargers wrap this one up 30-14, get their 3rd win of the season, 3rd in a row. Do the Chargers now 3-1 in their in 2014, excuse me. And now I love this Chargers team. You can't sell me right now that this isn't one of the better AFC teams in that conference. They are playing some outstanding football. And if we were talking, and it's too early for this, I don't even like discussing this, but if we were talking MVPs, let's just say for the first 4 weeks of the season, the first quarter of the season, who's playing better football than Phillip Rivers? You show me a quarterback that's playing better than, you show me a player in the league, maybe outside of one J.J. Watt, you show me a better player in the league right now, and I'll show you a liar. So, whoo, give me some Phils. You know how I feel about Phils. He's getting it done right now. You move on to the Jags, and I'll tell you what, this was impressive. It wasn't a win. There are no moral victories in the National Football League. We understand that to be a truth. However, that wasn't bad, man. That first half that Blake B put forth, if he could extrapolate that over 2 halves of football, you're talking about a win, number one. And number two, you're talking about a grade A top choice winning performance from a guy that you're hitching the wagon to as your future franchise quarterback. I'd say you got a really good football player in your hands. This kid has all the makings of a stud. I love his demeanor. I love his pocket presence. I love his ability to fling it down the field. I love his legs. I love the wheels. I love everything about this kid. All he has to do now is continue to gain experience so that he doesn't make the mistakes that he made in the second half and throw 2 interceptions en route to a loss. Instead, making big-time throws to help you win a game like this down the line. I like this kid a lot. You're going to do some things with him. Keep playing football. That's all you can do. Keep getting experience. You're going to get a win at some point. Just wasn't going to be against the San Diego Chargers in week number 4. So that does it for this breakdown of Jags Bolts. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down week number 4 in the National Football League. See you in a bit. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.